Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Cigna Group, or CI, the stock. We're going to be looking at the charts, some of the financials, PE, stuff like that, and just determine, is this a stock you're interested in or something that we're interested in, right? So the whenever I like to look at a stock for the first time, I'm going to look at the stock like you have no idea about it at all, just in case you haven't. So the 1 year, it's up 20%. 5 year, it's up 130%, which is good. That's still, I think, better than the S&P 500, over the last 5 years, depending on where you take it, right? But, oh, come on. Yeah, up 92%. So it's done slightly better, right? 10 year, it's done pretty significantly better than the S&P 500, though. So 86 compared to, 86 would be about 3xing, while the S&P 500 has roughly 2x'd. So, and they pay it roughly actually the exact same dividend. CI is slightly higher, although I do not know what it was over the entirety of the last 10 years. I just don't know that off the top of my head. Sorry guys. But yeah, this is a stock that's performed well, hasn't had any huge pump and dumps or anything like that. This looks like a steady chart up. So that's personally what I like to look for. PE seems a little high. I mean, it's about S&P 500 average, but actually if we look a little bit deeper, Ford PE is significantly lower, around 12. So there's obviously some growth baked into that, although future growth past that we don't know. I'm assuming because there's some hesitancy here, or else the market would have caught up on this. I'm sure we aren't the only ones like, whoa, the Ford PE is 12, right? So I'm assuming there's something we don't quite know there. Maybe you have no idea what CI actually does, so let's read a bit about it. The Cigna Group, together with its subsidiaries, provides insurance-related products and services. Its Evernorth Health Services segment provides a range of coordinated and point solution health services, including pharmacy, home delivery, specialty pharmacy, distribution, and care. So basically, it's a mix between insurance and healthcare. I think it's mainly healthcare. That's mainly what they do. They do, yeah. I mean, if you read most of this, it's mostly just going to be healthcare stuff. So this is a healthcare sector. Schwab puts it in the healthcare providers and services sector. Schwab also loves it, thinks it's going to do really well, top 10%, the average stock. And the S&P 500 does, I would assume would be 50, although this is all stocks. They don't technically rate all stocks, but all U.S. stocks. They usually have some, unless they're really small, usually under 5 billion is when they start, not really getting looked at by Schwab's equity. They think it's going to do really well. In the short term. This is a 1 year outlook. They reiterated it like 3 days ago, right? I like the stock. I own it personally. I'm not going to load up more. That's just because there's some other things I like better. If you're curious what I do like and what I am purchasing, I actually just posted a video today about that, so you can check that out as well. But this is a good company. I own a decent amount of it anyways. I would be DCAing in if I just had more capital. So I like it. About the healthcare sector, let's dive into some risks, right? One quote-unquote risk is just that you're never going to be able to just 3 or 4x like overnight. Like, for example, if NVIDIA really hits it out of the water, their AI chips just do great. Google and all the people that use them, Microsoft, Meta, just love them, right? They could double, triple in a matter of a year, right? Cigna, CI Group, it's probably never really just going to like triple, right? Over a course of a year. It's just not going to happen. Oftentimes, for example, with insulin prices, right? Pseudo monopolies, they get stomped out because it becomes a political issue. So there's always going to be some sort of cap, right? Same with banks. I went over a lot of banks recently. If you're interested in those, you can check them out. I went over most of the major banks, except for I think JP Morgan Chase. That's the only one I haven't done yet. And same thing with those stocks. Like, they aren't going to just 4x out of nowhere. They're fairly safe. They often have lower PE multiples. So in the case of a recession, assuming it doesn't hit that sector specifically, they hold a good amount of their value. But same thing with CI. It's probably not just going to 3x. And most tech stocks, it's unlikely, but just the fact that they just hit a home run is always baked in. Like with Apple, man, they could just have their AI in their phones could just hit a home run with it. People love it. Everyone's buying a new phone. I don't know. It seems unlikely, and I'm saying it isn't likely, but it's much more likely. It's a 1% chance, except with CI, it's very, very, very small, like nearly impossibly small, right? So even when we're talking 1 in 100 odds, that's something to factor in. It is an American company. That's good. They don't, you always know because they don't even have the rating with it, right? It's not quite big enough for any of my personal dividend. I wouldn't look to put them in a dividend portfolio. The dividend 1.5% really doesn't do that much for me. Maybe you just like owning stocks with some sort of dividend, right? But if I'm going for dividends, I'd prefer to get stocks that pay at least a 2% dividend. So at this point, this isn't there for me. It's not bad, but it's definitely not great. So yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing any red flags with the stock. I like the PE. I decently like the sector. It's not an A+. I like tech, but I can't own all the tech. I diversified into healthcare with this pick. This is the stock I like. I'm also looking at, I think, UNHC eventually. I think that's the ticker. That one's really nice and stable as well. But yeah, this is kind of a low risk, low reward sort of play for me. So in diversification, you can see all the other tickers I went to. It's literally with the other video. I'm kind of struggling to come up with more with this because I just think this is a decent stock. I don't think it's a home run. I think it may perform well in the short term. I do not know that. I cannot predict the future. Who knows what happens? But this is one of those stocks where you probably aren't going to lose out on it, right? Unless something really weird happens. This is a nice, safe play. It's going to pay a dividend. It's in the healthcare system, right? So I like the stock quite a bit. Analysts seem to think it's at least decent, if not like it. Let's take a little peek at what analysts think on here. Most reiterate, more than 2/3 say buy, right? Significantly more last month. These are, I just think, who reiterated. Oh, also, yeah, the company seems to consistently beat, which I like that. I like conservative and then beating instead of missing. Because I don't like it when you say, oh, we're going to do this, and they don't. That often leads to drops in prices and stuff like that. They actually had a pretty good last quarter as well. They beat significantly, and they're going to keep on doing well. So, yeah, they're projected for good growth. Hopefully they can hit these marks. I'm not sure if this is the company or what analysts think. But anyways, that's all I really have on this video so far. If you enjoyed this, looking at the stock, we can always dive in deeper in the future. I'm willing to do any deep dives into any stocks, right? I just would prefer if people actually watched the video. I did an hour-long video and no one really watched it. So I'd prefer to keep 10-minute-long videos. Just until I can build more of an audience up, but I'm willing to do an hour-long videos into any companies, assuming people are actually attentive in them. So, but if you made it this far, you don't have to feel bad for me if you leave a like. Oftentimes the algorithm picks up videos and they do better and things like that. So, but even if you just watched the video and made it this far, I really appreciate you listening and taking the time to watch this. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. So I appreciate all you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Catch you later.